fellow cinephiles, my name is Christina and welcome to another Let's Get Reelz movie review. Today's movie I will be reviewing is one of my favorite comedy movies of all time. It is Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1. There are a whole bunch of scenes and different points in history according to Mel Brooks's mind. So it begins with like the prehistoric times when man first came about to the French Revolution. And it is just one sick scenario after sick scenario from Mel Brooks's crazy brain. So as I said, it starts in prehistoric times and then it goes to the Romans. And this is where Mel Brooks actually comes into the story. And he is comicus in the Roman Empire, and if you couldn't tell, he is a comic, or as he is known in this segment, a stand-up philosopher. And he gets a gig playing Caesar's Palace, the main floor in Caesar's Palace, and he performs for Caesar, who is played by Deluise, and the Empress, who is hysterically, wonderfully, perfectly played by Madeline Kahn. Gregory Hines is also in this part, and it's just like one crazy thing after crazy thing. The Roman Imperial Guards are after Comicus, and Josephus, as Gregory Hines' character is called in this. And they run away, they do silly things, there's so many jokes and little asides in this. And then it is on to a really funny, hysterical musical segment of the Spanish Inquisition. And Mel Brooks, he's Jewish, and he is singing about, Spanish Inquisition that was about how Jews were forced to convert or like tortured into converting. Not entirely well versed in the Spanish Inquisition, so he's singing about this, about the torture of his people at one point in history. I believe his name was Torquemada, but they say Talkmata. You can't talk him out of anything. And then it was just like a whole kind of joke about his name and just crazy stuff in that as well. The French Revolution, I think, is like one of the best things in a comedy film ever. You have Harvey Korman in this as County Monet, not Count the Money, County Monet, and Cloris Leachman as Madame Defarge. And oh my god, it's like crazy. It's so crazy. It is just one big, massive joke on the French at the time of the French Revolution. And oh my god, Cloris Leachman is hysterical. Like, her character runs like this pub, but like all of the revolutionaries meet there, and she's like, dumb scum, and then like she's like, we're so poor, we don't even have our own language, just this accent. And one of the guys says, you're right, we all sound like Marie Chevalier, like, oh my god, it is like one of the greatest scenes there. So Mel Brooks comes in, he is King Louis at this point, but he's also what's called the piss boy, and where literally there's this guy that just carries around a bucket so all these rich people can piss in it whenever they want, because they're out having a good time, having a party. And Mel Brooks as King Louis breaks the fourth wall and he stares into the camera and he goes, it's good to be the king. So obviously it's Mel Brooks playing both, and the king, he's gonna get executed, but he's like, I was like, who could take my place? And then Harvey Korman's County Monet goes, you look like the piss boy, and King Louis goes, and you look like a bucket of shit. And so they switch, and the people come and get him, thinking that he's the king. And Josephus from the Roman Empire comes and saves him on this horse miracle that was in the Roman Empire scene. I can't even do this movie justice with my summary. Just know that it is one hysterical, freaking funny joke after another. You really have to listen to his jokes because they're like so slight, but they're so good. And all of Mel Brooks's jokes are very smart. Even, if they are racist, I'm not even gonna say a little, even if they are racist, but it's Mel Brooks, and he's not doing it to be facetious, he's doing it to be funny. I do not think that any movie like History of the World or even his other film like Blazing Saddles would ever be made today. People would be in an absolute uproar if History of the World and Blazing Saddles were made today. But that's kind of what makes History of the World so much fun to watch, because you're like, oh my god, did he really do that? Did they really crack those jokes? But Mel Brooks is so smart. He's so good. Every actor that he has in his movies are so spot on. Madeline Kahn, I can't even, she makes this movie for me. She really just makes any movie, but specifically this movie, she completely makes. Like, her character's an airhead. She's the Empress of Rome, and she probably has some of the dirtiest scenes, even though like you don't really see anything, but just the innuendo, the sexual innuendo that comes out of her mouth at all times in this movie is just wonderful. I've seen this movie over and over again, and every time Madeline Kahn opens her mouth, I'm done. Like, I can't stop laughing. Dom DeLuise as Caesar, it's like the perfect Roman emperor that I can think of. He's fat, he's gluttonous, he's like really stupid, and every time he sits on something, he pulls it out of his rear and he goes, "Watch this!" And it's just so funny. Every joke that is told in this movie, I just cry laughing at. And as I said, I've seen this countless of times, but that's just Mel Brooks. You know what's coming, and you still laugh, and you still enjoy it as if it is the first time watching any of his movies. I have to give a huge shout out to my friend Annie, because at the end of this movie, Mel Brooks kind of does a gag. He goes, "But wait, there's History of the World Part 2 coming soon." And he goes, "See Hitler on ice." And it is like this ice skater in a Hitler Nazi costume skating around. I remember the first time we all watched this together, me, Annie, and like my brothers, and at the time her boyfriend Mike, and who she's now married to. We were watching this down in my basement on VHS. That is how old we are. We were watching this on VHS, and when that Hitler on ice scene came up, Annie lost it. I mean, like tears streaming down her face. Like I said, it was on VHS, so we had to like rewind it over and over and over. And like when I was watching this movie, I texted her and I said, "I'm watching History of the World Part 2, and she just texted me right back, "See Hitler on ice," and she was like dying. She said that she just, every time she even thinks of it, she's always cracking up. So Annie, that was for you. I still laugh every time I see Hitler on ice because of you. History of the World Part 1 is one of the greatest movies of all time. This is my review of it, more of like a rambling of why I love Mel Brooks and why I love this movie so much, and why Mel Brooks is a fucking genius, and why this movie is just like comedic gold. Like, this is how you do a spoof movie. Mel Brooks' movies are always like, they're just the standard. Like, if you can't meet that with spoof movies, you shouldn't just make them anyway. I hope you liked my rambling / review of History of the World. If you did like this in any way, please give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below so we can further discuss History of the World. We can discuss Mel Brooks and his other movies, whatever you want. I am more than happy to talk about this movie or Mel Brooks in any capacity. Also in the comments, please leave any movie suggestions you may have for me. It does not matter what they are. I will watch it, and if I pick your movie, I will give you a shout out. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future movie reviews, because that is what I like to do here. And as always, keep watching movies and stay absolutely fabulous.